Chapter 40. For members of the Bigfoot research team, last known to be in the vicinity of Tellico, wanted for questioning concerning a recent crime committed in the Cherokee National Forest. Approach with caution. Team members could be armed and could be dangerous. Descriptions follow. Billy clicked off the radio. I feel like I might be sick, Billy said. We didn't do anything, Petra said. Well, we have now, but we didn't. Billy continued driving. If he could make it another mile, he was probably home free. The turn onto the gravel road would take them away from people. How did he get himself into these things? He hated it when someone even thought he was doing something wrong. He was a rule follower, always had been. Then something inside him clicked. You know, I don't care. We haven't done anything wrong. That's the spirit, Petra said, even though it was unconvincing. She was actually holding the door handle, because Billy was driving fast. I'm willing to go down for this, he said. Petra looked back at him, possibly in admiration, but maybe not. It was clear she was afraid. Billy pumped the truck brakes to slow enough to make the turn. That's when he saw the blue lights. It was clear almost immediately that it was a county vehicle, but it was unmarked. The sheriff or one of his deputies had spotted them. But instead of stopping, Billy continued on the gravel road as it began to climb and turn, rising above the valley. They were at least 3 miles from the top. If he could get there, he might possibly be able to aim the back of the truck away from the road, and Bigfoot could try to make an escape. The prospects of this situation ending well for anyone involved didn't look promising. Billy wrestled with the steering wheel around the curves as they climbed, and big erosion cutouts in the road bounced them in their seats. The sirens screamed and the blue lights danced off the overhanging limbs. Surely Tinker, or whoever was driving the car, knew there was really no outlet on this road. If they went to the top, they were trapped in a cul-de-sac on top of the world. If they took the only right turn, the road wound on for miles into North Carolina with no chance of exit. That in itself was out of the question. He was going to the top. Hold on, Billy said. I'm trying, Petra replied. I'm guessing we're not stopping? No. They climbed, and then another unexpected thing happened. Even though the road was almost one lane, though cars could pass each other going in different directions if they proceeded slowly. The car tried to pull beside Billy. At the next hairpin turn, though, it was forced to fall back once more. Then on the straightaway, the car tried again. Each time they came to a turn, the vehicle was forced to fall back. The left-hand side of the road was now bordered with a precipitous drop, with trees as the only thing that could stop a vehicle from plummeting hundreds of feet into the ravine. They couldn't be more than a mile from the top. The climax of this chase scene was rapidly approaching. On the next straight, the car accelerated to come up beside them again. If the car could get past, or at least get to the front panel of the truck, it could turn into them and stop their ascent to the top. But as it approached, it did a most unexpected thing. The driver turned into the back corner of the truck, colliding, and sent the truck lurching a bit sideways and, for a moment, facing down the hill, before Billy could wrestle the front of the truck straight once more. They continued climbing with the truck's engine whining to its breaking point on the steep grade. On what looked to be the last straightaway, the car made one last effort and drew alongside before gunning its engine to pass and cut them off. But another hairpin turn arrived suddenly, and a sharp turn into the front of the truck brought on a violent collision, rocking Billy and Petra in the front. Billy had time to see inside the car as it passed, and his worst nightmare was confirmed. It was Sheriff Tinker. When the vehicles collided, the weight of the truck proved too much for the unmarked unit, which bounced sideways, caught traction on its back tires, and lurched sideways even more, aiming down the mountain. The brakes caught no purchase on the loose gravel and dirt, and a cloud of dust followed the vehicle as it left the road and began down the mountain. It hit the first tree almost head on and bounced sideways. the car's momentum sending the right side higher than the left, causing it to begin what looked like a slow-motion rolling of the car down the hill, aided by gravity. The blue lights flashed wildly on the surrounding limbs, and the siren did a sort of dying warble. The car tumbled 4 or 5 times before colliding with a tree and stopping with a sudden crash. Billy stopped and exited to look down the mountain where the car sat smoking several hundred feet below, the cruiser a mass of crumpled metal now, its roof upside down. From here, Billy could see the opening at the top of the of Buck Bald. Billy had a decision to make. He began to walk down into the ravine, holding trees as he descended. 100 yards down, he looked back to see Rink, Robo, and Harrison following him. Bigfoot, Tom, Tyler, and Petra stood looking down. He would have to take the chance that Tinker might have his weapon out and ready. There was a human being, albeit one that was probably a killer, trapped and dying. He wouldn't be able to live with himself if he allowed that to happen without trying to help. The engine popped and crackled below as smoke billowed out from the car's front. Other than that, Billy could hear no sound. His feet slid as he picked up speed, fighting the pull of gravity that tried to throw him to the depths of the canyon below. As he approached, he could see Tinker, half in and half out of the window and trapped under the heavy car. Upon arriving, the outcome of the chase was certain. If Tinker was indeed the killer, he was now answering to a higher power. Billy turned to climb back up the hill. They walked to the top of Buck Bald. It wasn't far, and when they strode through the small parking lot, they slowed and stopped. Small trees stirred at the end and opened, to allow another Bigfoot to exit, followed by 2 juveniles that were still as big as Robo. Bigfoot made a small sound that sounded like unspeakable gratitude and love. He walked away slowly from them and from Tom to join what must have been his family. He turned and looked back once, his big forlorn eyes a steady gaze on Billy, and then they walked into the trees, silently, vanishing into the night. The team and Tyler stood and watched, as if no one wanted the moment to end. Finally, Billy spoke, mainly to Tyler, but to the rest as well. "We can never mention this part," he said. No one spoke. "If anyone finds out he's real, they're real. They'll never stop. This has to be our secret. If Bigfoot is to survive, no one can know." Silence. Finally, Rink spoke. "I'm in." "Me too." After each of them answered but Tyler, Billy turned the team's attention to him. "I'll never tell," he said, before he broke down and began to sob.